it's pushed down,
Yes.
and blip, all the batteries are gone. It's like there's a wall of energy there. And it's real enough to affect your equipment, and you can feel it too. Sometimes people are in there and they say, I really feel charged.
Yeah.
Or that sometimes they make you feel kind of sick. And dowsers will go in there, and their dowsing rods will start moving around. And the most amazing thing to me was in this Devil's Den formation, a dowser came in, and where she got the largest change in her dowsing rods was exactly where I had measured the largest static charge. Believe it or not, it's in the smallest circles, not in the biggest ones, where you get that big charge change. Now, again, I don't know if you're suggesting that the electrostatic charge can't affect the batteries, and I don't know enough about the science of charges, but something else
I
is
don't
doing
either. I just, normal common sense tells me an electrostatic charge in the air, wouldn't affect a battery's charge. I don't see how. Anyway, what else has happened within these circles?
What people have seen a lot, and you've heard about this, of course, and the listeners, Coast listeners, have heard about this, the balls of light. These are actually seen while people are making crop formations.
That's right. Now, you're telling me that in the man-made formations, the crop circle makers are doing this to bring on exactly this kind of phenomena. So
yes.
They want to see these balls of light.
Yes. They want to see the balls of light, the UFOs, whatever else happens to come in. And to be honest, the results sometimes terrify them.
There was a scientist who recently determined that a ball of plasma balls, can exist in the atmosphere and appear to be, for reasons inexplicable to them, energy sustaining. In other words, they continue to generate enough energy to keep this plasma ball going. It should dissipate, it should go away or explode or do something, but instead it keeps going. Now, where is that energy coming from to sustain these plasma balls, which might explain lights? I don't know.
It's a great question. We don't really know.
Yeah, I
they
know.
seem to be intelligently controlled. You've seen the videos.
I have, actually, yes. And for those who haven't, explain what it looks like.
Typically, and there's about 12 good videos that I think are the real thing that tourists and other people have taken, just happen to be around those areas where the crop circles are. Something will come over the hill, and it will move right towards the crop formation. Mm-hmm. It will speed up. It will slow down. It will make right-angle turns. Mm-hmm. In one case, a video that was taken by Steve Alexander, I think back in 1990 or 91, it actually went from one crop circle over to another crop circle about a half mile away. These, I measured the speed of one of these near Barbary Castle from 1999. There's a pretty famous video from that one. The thing was moving nearly 200 miles an hour once it started to speed up. Now, no birds fly that fast unless some of them when they're direct dive, but nothing moves that fast that I know right above the wheat. It looks like it's intelligently controlled, and I'm confident it's either a life form that we don't understand or it's someone's probe to investigate these crop formations. Because they're intelligently controlled, and yet they're being attracted to man-made formations as well as the other type also.
Huh.
So
do you believe they are a product of them, or the formations, that is, and these lights are a product of the formations, or they are simply a phenomena observing the fact that one of these has been made? In other words, by making one of them, we have attracted someone's attention. Which do you think it is?
I think it's the latter.
You really do?
Absolutely. In the videos, they come over the hill. I mean, they come from out of nowhere. And, in the Steve Alexander video, there, right before he started filming, he said it actually went into the formation, and it was like exploring it, like right down in the wheat. It disappeared for a few seconds, and then it popped out again, and then it goes to another formation, and then it's seen passing over a tractor, and the tractor stalled. The tractor driver saw it, and he said it looked like a large, luminous beach ball. Now, he is driving a diesel tractor. They don't have much electrical stuff going on in them at all. There's not much electronics in a diesel tractor, but it stalled anyway, and then it just started again. You can see it on the video. You can see the tractor stopping, and then it starts up. They have an electrical property that can affect equipment, and they also, they look intelligently controlled. And so I don't think that the crop circle is creating them. I think the crop circle is attracting them. There are other cases where circle makers have told me they went into a crop formation, they started to make one, and balls of light showed up, and they actually ran out of there.
Meaningful investigation of crop circles And so, therefore, he's certainly worth listening to. And he's made some, I think, very serious discoveries that we've got to think a lot about, that man-made circles exhibit the same anomalous effects as those made by, well, we know not who, right? But the same measurable anomalous effects. Dr. Hine, how long do we know, or do we know how long these effects remain within the created circles? Are they active forever? Do they fade as the circle gets older? Do we know anything about that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. It seems from our research that the effects do fade away as the circle gets older, and of course, eventually it's harvested. The formation that I referred to before, the Devil's Den formation of 1999, I actually went back to England in October of that year. The formation had already been harvested. The whole field had been harvested. Mm-hmm. It had not been replanted yet. I went back to that spot with the same equipment I originally had from that July, previous July, and there was no effect on the static meter anymore. There was no effect on my camcorder. There was nothing happening. Now,
you get really high marks, in my opinion, for doing all of this. What's driving you to do all of this?
When you spend 27 years in school, from kindergarten to PhD, the only reason you would do that is because you have a love of the truth. You really need to know the answers. And some of us who study this area of crop circles were just so fascinated by it, we just have to know what's going on. And I just feel driven to find out what is really happening here. It's one thing to listen to people talk about it, but
yes,
you need to verify it with your own experience and
yes,
your own data.
Yes.
And that's what we do. We really want to test these things because we believe crop circles are real. That's why we do this. We know they're real. It isn't a question of man-made or hoaxed,
okay,
or real.
The element of time,
right.
The element of time, Doctor, of missing time or of time in some manner shifting so that our perception is, well, it's almost like it's almost like time travel in a way, Doctor. It's missing time. And what do you suppose there could be about such a field that we're talking about created that would enter into that aspect of things, to warp time or to change our perception of time, whatever?
Yeah, I mean, there is something very strange going on in those fields. I haven't experienced the time travel myself, but my colleague Ron Russell told me a very interesting story where he went to, ostensibly just to go get to the car, back to get a flashlight or something, and he seemed to be gone in his own time for like 3 hours, and then met a group of people speaking ancient English around a campfire.
Oh?
They didn't even seem to belong. He couldn't barely understand what they were saying. It seemed all wrong, like something out of a totally different time period, like 1,000 years ago.
Like he went through another dimension.
Exactly. And when he got back to the circle, he wanted to show. He said, "Look, I found something coming." And from their point of view, he'd only been gone 5 minutes or something like that. From his point of view, it seemed like he'd been gone for an hour. And then when he tried to go find the campfire and everything again, he couldn't find it, and the car was right next to him the whole time. It was a very strange experience, and other researchers have reported this similar types of experiences where a friend of theirs went back into the circle, and from their point of view in the car waiting for them, it seemed like hours, yet for the person in the circle, it seemed like 10 minutes. And that seems like time is getting dilated or warped in some way, which, by the way, is consistent with relativity theory, special relativity theory, that time can be different from different points of view. And so I'm not sure exactly what accounts for it, but it does seem that may be happening. Some experiments I've heard of that have been done with watches is that if you take two very good quality watches and you leave one in the circle and leave one outside, that sometimes you can see a noticeable change where there shouldn't be any. So,
have you actually seen that?
I haven't seen that. And again, like most of these stories, I'd really like to see it for myself. But it's certainly a possibility, and certainly with these people's experience.
Doesn't all